Hey, good morning, guys. Happy Tuesday. I hope you all had a fantastic weekend. Now, today we're going to be talking about area and circumference of circles. And this first problem here is kind of walking you through that third slide in Desmos today. But we've got two formulas we're going to work with. The first one is our area formula for a circle, so A equals pi r squared. And what we need here is our radius. It's the only unknown that we don't have so far. So if I'm looking at the International Cricket Council and the fact that they dictate that the smallest possible distance from the edge of the field is 60 yards. So if I had the center of a circle, and the shortest distance I could go is 60 yards. And if I went 60 yards and kind of swept out that shortest distance all the way around, I'd end up with a circle. So my radius is 60. So what would happen there is, if I substitute 60 in for r, my radius, so area equals pi times 60 squared equals 3,600 times pi. Then if I type 3,600 times pi, or times 3.14 in a calculator, then I'll get my area is 11,309 point, and let's just round to the nearest hundredth, 0.73 yards. And that's square yards. So we're going to do the same thing here. Given our radius, we'll substitute that in for r and solve. So if this is 3 meters, then the area equals pi times 3 squared, or 9 pi. And you could leave it as 9 pi if you really want to, but if you want to do a decimal, then that would be 28.27 square meters. So again, you could always do pi times 19 squared, or you could leave this as 361 pi. But if you really want to, if you're more of a fan of decimals, then this would be 1,134.11 square inches. And why don't you guys take a second, pause the video, and try that last one for me. This is my radius. So my radius is 12 meters. And this would be pi times 12 squared, which would be 144 pi, or 452.39 square meters. So that's the first thing we'll do. Now, what if I gave you the what if I gave you the area, rather, and asked you to find the radius? So there we've got a 3-step process. So given that area, well, where in this formula would I substitute the known area? I'm going to substitute area in where it says area. So I'll say 17,000 553.85 equals pi r squared. So area equals pi r squared. And now I really want to get pi by, or not pi by itself. I want to get r squared by itself. So what do I need to get rid of over here? Well, I need to get rid of pi. If I'm multiplying these, the opposite of multiplying by pi is dividing by pi. So I can take 17,553.85 and I can divide that by pi to get, let's see, 5,587.56 equals r squared. And now this is r squared, but I want r. So what's the opposite of squaring a number? How do I get rid of r squared? Well, the opposite of squaring a number is square rooting. So if I take the square root of that, then I get r equals 74.75, and my units are meters. So that would be the radius of Melbourne Cricket Ground in Australia. So again, our process will always stay the same. We're going to divide by pi, and then we'll take the square root. So the area is 100 meters squared in number 6. So 100 equals pi r squared. And again, our process will always stay the same, so that's not going to change ever. We'll divide by pi to get the r squared by itself, because that's what we're trying to solve for. So we'll say 100 divided by pi, and we'll get 31.83 equals r squared. So first step, divide by pi every single time. And then our second step, well, we want to find r, not r squared. So to get rid of squaring, we'll square root. The opposite of squaring a number is square rooting. So r is going to be equal to the square root of 31.83, which is 5.64. And we're still in meters. So why don't you guys pause the video here and try this last set of 2 problems. All right, here my radius would be 7 units, and in that last one there, the radius would be approximately 8.92 meters. Okay, and our last problem type here, we're finding circumference. So I'm going to give you the radius. I'm going to ask you to find the circumference using this formula. So the only thing we'll substitute in for in this problem type is r. I'm only ever going to give you r. So let's see. If this radius is 60 meters, I want the circumference. So circumference equals 2 times pi times the radius, which I said was 60. And all we're going to do is simplify that. So 2 times pi times 60 in your calculators. Circumference is going to be 376.99 meters. And if you really felt like you needed to, you could just round up to 377 meters. That one I wouldn't I wouldn't be too worried about the rounding to the 100th, because it is 0.99. And same thing in 6, 7, and 8. So I'll do 6, and then I'll leave 7 and 8 for you guys. C equals 2 times pi times the radius of 95. So you can just do this in your calculators and get 596.90. And I'd like you to pause the video here and try these last two and see what you get. So number 7 ends up being 125.66 yards. And number 8, 2 times pi times 37 is 232.5